Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. So we were looking at the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As I mentioned already, Bhagavan had given the complete teaching in the second chapter itself, because he had talked about the Swarupa of Atma, the nature of Atma as the limitless conscious being which is imperishable. It is not even an object, so it cannot be objectified by anything really. So it is not even an object in space-time. So Atma is something which can never be destroyed by anything, because it's not available as an object for any kind of activity. But this vision is not very easy to grasp for everybody. So Bhagavan also taught Karma Yoga to Arjuna in the second chapter itself, where he first wants people to have Chitta Shuddhi. And Shuddhi means purity. When we talk about purity of mind, first we have to define what is impurity. Impurity is nothing but, in this case, Raga Dvesha. Your likes and dislikes alone are impurity. That is what is causing conflict in you. So Bhagavan tells him that you do all your activities, whatever is to be done, you have to do. But the results are not in your hands. That is a fact, in fact, that all of us understand it, because even whatever effort we may put, the results can be as we expect, it can be more than we expect, it can be less than what we expect, or it can be totally opposite. This is our experience in day-to-day life. There is nothing to argue against it. So, Karma Yoga is nothing but somebody who is objective, actually accepting this reality. Correct? It's the reality of our experience, whatever may be your wishes. But reality is that you can only put effort. The results are coming from Bhagavan for us. So without accepting Bhagavan, again, there is no Karma Yoga. Understand that. It's not just social service or anything like that. Social service also people can do for some kind of ego boost and all that, correct? Or some propaganda. So, although altruism and all we talk about it, when we talk about Karma Yoga is not just doing some work without taking money. It is more than that. It is the understanding that all the results are coming from Bhagavan, and that you are ready to accept it because it is coming from Bhagavan's altar. It is a prasada. And you have an attitude of prasada towards every results of action which you are getting in your life. If you are able to have such an attitude towards results of action, then you are a yogi, in fact. So, according to our tradition, yogi is not just only doing hatha yoga or the best level of flexibility which you can have in your body, right? Which is desirable. I'm not saying that it is not an accomplishment or anything. Being a hatha yogi also is an accomplishment. It's a good thing to have a good, flexible and healthy body. But that alone is not enough, correct? You are a yogi only when you have this attitude. And in fact, this attitude is called as Buddhi Yoga by Bhagavan. The second chapter, it's an attitude. It's a yoga of attitude, actually. And your attitude towards the results of action. And even more important is, you are a karma yogi only if you are a mumukshu. That also is very important. This attitude, even a practical person, one who is objective, can have it. But more than that, any karma phala I am not interested in. that kind of an understanding one should have, because any results of action is only limited. It's not going to give me permanent satisfaction or contentment. So, but still, our very nature is that we cannot be even alive without doing something, right? Activity has to be done. Nobody can escape that. So, we do the activity with the right attitude. Even a mumukshu has to do whatever is to be done, that you do with the right attitude. Even though you are not interested in the karma phala, still you have to do whatever is to be done, and whatever you get from that, you are accepting it as prasada. Such a life will prepare you to receive this knowledge, because you are now the master of your own likes and dislikes. So you are not under the spell of your own likes and dislikes, but you still can have likes and dislikes, because that's what makes you a person, correct? Each and every personality is based on your own likes, and individual likes and dislikes are not a problem. In fact, as long as you are having a yoga buddhi and you are using dharmic means, Bhagavan says, I am manifest in you as the dharma aviruddha kamaha. He is saying that. Later on, he will say in the 7th chapter. So, Ichha is a Shakti, but we have to wield it as a privilege. It should not become a burden, correct? So, that is the important thing. He teaches this yoga also to Arjuna and says, hence, therefore you have to fight, correct? Because right now you are in the battlefield. Even if you run away, he says, Sambhavitasya cha akirtihi maranadatirichyate. If you run away from here, you will only get akirti. People will talk all sorts of nonsense about you. Duryodhana will come and say that he ran away just looking at me and all that. He will make sure that everybody knows it also. Okay, he will spread it. So it's like worse than death for you, Bhagavan says. So you have to fight, but fight with the right attitude, with yoga buddhi. So he teaches both these things. That means what? For normal people, those who are grihastha, but those who are still mumukshu, Bhagavan is teaching you this karma yoga. Karma yoga is the your lifestyle. Okay. Those who are more mature, who want to even more simplify their life. Okay. Sannyasa lifestyle is basically a simplification of your life, because you voluntarily give up all the roles. That is sannyasa. So what is the tyaga you are doing in sannyasa? Sannyasa means nyasaha itself means tyaga. Whatever is there, you are giving it all of that. Means what are you giving up is all the roles, because all of us are playing multiple roles, correct? We are a parent, we are a child, we are an employer, we are an employee, we are a citizen. So every kind of role is there, and each role is coming with a certain duty attached to it. Correct? Role comes with responsibility, which is the duty, we say. So you have to do whatever is there in that role. Now all these roles Grihastha has to play. Even whether you like it or not, these roles are all there. And you have to accept that reality and play the role as per the script which has been already given to you, which is the prarabdha, correct? You are already, see, we never chose our parents. So many things we did not choose, correct? Your entire childhood, you did not have any choice. Those things were given to you. And now, because of that only, we are in a certain situation, even as an adult, correct? So those things are all given to you. And you have to go along with that script. And that you do with the right attitude. That is karma yoga. Being a mumukshu, you have the right attitude towards karma and karma phala, and that gives you a certain maturity. And along with that, karma yogi also has to do shravana manana nididhyasanam. Understand? So karma yogi's life is even more difficult in the sense that all these other regular roles also you have to play. Like even like King Janaka was playing the role of a king also, correct? So much of responsibility is there. And even Arjuna also is a prince and king and all that, correct? He also has to play all these roles. But you play the role as a role that he taught. Then Arjuna in the second chapter further asks, Sita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta. So, because what is the lakshana of a Sthita Prajnaha means one's knowledge is very well established. This Atma Jnanam, for whom this Atma Jnanam is well established, means it's always available to you, correct? Any knowledge, I told you already, even though you have knowledge, it may not be available to you all the time. That's because of how your mind operates. If your mind becomes emotional, then even a knowledge which you are very clear about may not be available to you at that time. And your action also will not reflect the knowledge which you have really. It is only going based on the emotion rather than your knowledge. This is very common. We all understand that. It's nothing new or anything. But that is something one has to mature and grow out of such behavior, correct? That is something we can aspire for, we can work for. But the jnani is one who has gone beyond all that, and he is one for whom this knowledge, this Atma Jnanam itself is always available. It's established. So such a person, how does he talk, how does he walk and all that? Actually, Arjuna asks, the question looks a little bit silly because it says, it is like, how does he talk means he talks slowly like this. It's not like that. Bhagavan doesn't take it literally. In fact, Bhagavan answers saying that Sita Prajnasya ka bhashanal he asked. And okay, so he says Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha Sita Prajna Sadochyate. Bhagavan answers, he takes the spirit of that question, he says, the person Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha Sita Prajna Sadochyate. So Sita Prajna is one for whom all the desires are already fulfilled. Because he doesn't want anything from any karma pala, means it is as though you have already fulfilled all your desires. You have won over all your desires. Anything which may happen, any mental activity also is not a botheration for you anymore. And you are happy being yourself. That is the best thing, correct? Because that's what all of us want. We want unconditional happiness and happiness all the time, wherever I am. Now, if your happiness is not dependent on anything external, and you know that you are the source of all happiness, there is nothing better than that, correct? Then it becomes unconditional, in fact. That is the happiness we are seeking, and Sita Prajna is one who has known that, one who knows that, and that is reflecting in his life also then. Correct? That's what Bhagavan answers. There are 18 verses, beautiful in that section. So with that, the whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita is over. But in third chapter, Arjuna comes back and again says, but he is still attached to not fight and become a sannyasi. So again, Bhagavan explains to him that Karma Yoga is, he says, Lokes means Dvida, Nishta, Pura, Prokta, Mayanaga, Jnana Yogena, Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena, Yogina. All these things he says, I have already given two lifestyles. And in Bhagavan's mind, Arjuna has to be a Karma Yogi, not a sannyasi. So he again teaches Karma Yoga. The third chapter is called Karma Yoga. So why you have to do all these things? And in the beginning of the fourth chapter now, the first verse is the Vamsha Kathanam, we say, correct? Once you have taught something, we normally say that how did this knowledge flow? To show that this knowledge is an authentic knowledge, it is not something new, somebody's imagination or anything, correct? It's not some philosophy. Understand that. Vedanta is not should not be called as a philosophy. Philosophy is pure speculation of different guys. And whether the philosopher himself lived by that or not, we don't know. They are all just doing some speculation, writing books, earning money, and all that, or becoming some professors. That's fine. There's nothing. In fact, recently I read one article saying that none of the philosophers are able to arrive at anything, any conclusion. And so philosophy itself is facing a crisis. That is natural because philosophy is now only based on some speculation of people and some inference and all that, correct? But tarka itself has to have some basis. Inference cannot be just floating around. So it all depends on what axioms you start with. But those axioms themselves may not be valid in most of these cases because these are all proposed by just some people. But for us, Veda is the basis for everything. Whatever Krishna is teaching, by saying the Vamshakatanam, what Krishna is saying is, it is all coming, whatever is there in the Veda only I am teaching you now. Krishna is not starting anything new. It's not Krishna's philosophy or anything. And whatever the Veda is revealing to us, it is knowledge, it is valid knowledge because we accept the Veda as a pramana, it is a means of knowledge. So every means of knowledge has two characteristics. One is whatever it reveals should not be available from anywhere else. Is that clear? That is called anadhigatam. So anadhigatam is one characteristic of a pramana. So let us say this color. What is this color? Means you say some white, some kind of white. Okay, fine. How did you know? Means I knew with my eyes. Okay, can your ear prove that this is white? Ear has no access to color. Can your nose prove that it is white? Means no. Can you lick and say it is white? No. Can you touch and say it is white? No. So none of the other pramanas have any access to color, correct? So basically you are believing your eyes. But you don't call it that way. Sense organs we all, because it's automatic, it works automatically, we consider as though that it is knowledge, it is valid knowledge. But really you are believing your eyes. Because if I ask you, can you prove that this is white? You cannot prove. You have to only go by whatever your eyes are reporting. In fact, some people are colorblind. They can argue with you that green is red, red is green, and all that. so, so we are just believing our eyes, correct? Now, can you give the same status to the Veda? Because what Veda says also is not available. Pratyakshena anumityava yastu upayona buddhyate yenam vidanti vedena tasmat vedasya vedata. Like this, Sayanacharya tells you what is Veda. In the Rigveda Bhashya Bhumika, when he is writing the introduction to the Rigveda Bhashya, he says Pratyakshena anumityava. From Pratyaksha and Anumana, whatever is not available for me to know through Pratyaksha and Anumana, that alone is revealed by the Veda, and that is why it is Veda, in fact. Otherwise, it's only restating stuff, correct? I don't require Veda. Why I am telling you this point is, many people nowadays say that Veda is scientific, our religion is scientific and all this. They think that scientific is something great. In fact, if by saying scientific, you are actually degrading the Veda. Because if it is scientific, why should I study Veda? I can go to Stanford, MIT or IASC or somewhere and study, correct? I'll rather go to a scientist and study science. I don't need Veda. Science is basically...
It's the other way around. Science has limitation.
Correct. Science is basically enhanced perception and inference, correct? Because nowadays we have telescope, microscope and all that. It's not... See, in olden days we had only our sense organs. With that also our Nayayikas were like scientists because they went by whatever is can be perceived, and based on that they had very solid inferences and all that. In fact, they inferred that there are anus and all that. Okay, so they had very sophisticated inference and all we already had based on the just eye perception and regular perception. But now we have even better perception, which is fine. But that doesn't make any difference. Understand that Veda is still whatever is, it cannot be scientific by definition. In fact, that is how we are even looking at the Veda. It cannot be scientific. It has to reveal to me something which is beyond science. Then only it is Veda. And particularly with reference to the self-knowledge again, science is useless because science by definition is objective. It is only studying objective thing, correct? That's why it is not even, scientists are not even able to even confirm whether there is a mind or not. Even though they talk about psychology and all nonsense, but they are not even having a consensus whether there is a mind, there is something called mind or not. Only they are not able to arrive at even now. Some people say mind is an epiphenomenon of matter. Only matter alone is there. In fact, there are Advaitins in scientists also, but they say there is only matter. Okay, they are the other end of the spectrum. So they are called material monist. Means they say only matter alone is reality, everything else is an epiphenomenon of matter. So you put together something and then suddenly consciousness comes. That is their idea, or mind comes and all that. So there is no consensus because they are only talking about objective reality and all that. But the Veda is revealing to you the very nature of the subject. Understand that, which is not available for objectification, in fact. So it can never be scientific. Understand that Veda should not be scientific and it need not be scientific because it is a means of knowledge only because it is revealing to us something which is not available through any perception or inference. So if Veda says there is Swarga, nobody can either prove it or disprove it. But if you accept the Veda as a Pramana, you have to accept it as valid knowledge. Is that clear? But it is still something called Nitya Paroksha. So Veda reveals certain things which can never be proved, which is fine. It can never be disproved also. Understand that. It can never be proved, it can never be disproved. That is also an important characteristic of a Pramana. One I said is it has to reveal something which is not available through anything else. That is called Anadhigatam. Then we say Abadhitam. Whatever it has revealed should not be negated by any other means of knowledge. It cannot be disproved. So if it says there is a Swarga, it is not available through any other means of knowledge. It can also not be disproved by any means of knowledge. So then we accept it. Then it may even give you means to go to Swarga and all that, that you survive the physical body's death. Also is revealed by the Veda. Even there is no consensus whether there is any Atma, Jivatma, the individual self, which or even the subtle body for that matter, which survives. But Bhagavan himself says, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. So the dehi, the indweller of this body, whoever is there in this body, he gives up this body once, like even we throw away old clothes, correct? And takes up another body. These are all said by Bhagavan in Gita. It is said in the Veda also that the Deha Vyatirikta Atma is there. That is also something Veda only reveals. And that Deha Vyatirikta Atma can go and take another body in Swarga, Deva Sharira and all that. And there are many grades of Deva also. Okay. There are different types of Devas. Some Devas are servants of other Devas. Karma Deva and all are there. So like this, it is talking about all these things. Of course, these are all Nitya Paroksha, means it is always indirect knowledge only. There is no way of verifying it. But certain things, see, the words can reveal to you both Nitya Paroksha, but Aparoksha also it can reveal. Pratyaksha also, in the sense that if the object which you are experiencing, you don't know about it, the words can still reveal, correct? Because somebody comes from some foreign country and they don't know what is a jackfruit, let us say. Okay. And this guy goes around India and in fact he went to a market, he got the jackfruit also in his hand, he's eating it, but still he doesn't know it is jackfruit, he's still desperately searching for it. Then his friend comes and says, hey, so you finally found jackfruit, how is it tasting? Then only he knows, aha, this is the jackfruit I have been searching all this time. So words can reveal to you something direct knowledge if the object is available for experience. Okay. If the object is not available for experience, it is indirect knowledge. That is fine. So words can reveal both. Now this Atma, is it available to you all the time or not? it is the only thing which is always available, correct? Every other object may be available, may not be available. But Atma is always there. You are that, in fact. And if the Veda is revealing that to you, it is always direct knowledge only. Understand that. And it is not any promise or anything like that. The Vedic knowledge is you are the whole. And in fact, this is the only knowledge which can be completely conveyed also. Understand this. Every other knowledge, objective knowledge, is always incomplete. I have to only ask you one more why. And you are gone, correct? One more level I can go, and then you are stuck. You can say rose is red. Okay, why it is red? Means you say, okay, some chemical pigment is there, so it is red. Then why that chemical pigment is red means you may not know them. So I can always ask one more why, because this is all reductive knowledge, correct? You can keep on reducing to a certain level, but after that you don't know. The same thing, even if you take matter also, you are saying, okay, this is wood, but then you say, no, no, there are some molecules are there, cellulose is there, whatever. Then what are all those molecules means, okay, there are atoms are there. Okay, fine. Then what? No, no, there are neutron, proton, electrons are all there. Then even further you go, there is some quarks are there. Then where did this quark come from means, don't know. The observer has to collapse, they say. They talk about an observer then. Actually, the observer only has to collapse the quantum system. They talk about a transcendental quantum wave and all that, the scientists, which doesn't travel in space-time. In fact, that is the beauty. Scientists themselves have come up with a theory where they have transcended the space-time. That's why they say that the quantum jump, which they talk about, is a very counterintuitive theory. Understand that. In our high school and all, our teachers did not teach it properly to us. Because, okay, I don't want to go too much into this, but anyway, quickly I will say quantum jump means at the same time the electron which is there in one orbital goes to the other orbital without any change in time. Understand that. There is no time lapse. It was here, it is there. That is what is called quantum jump. And physicists are talking about this. Understand that. That is how, if it happens like that only, it will not lose any energy and it will not fall into the nucleus, the electron, and it can maintain the atomic structure. Otherwise, the atomic structure becomes unstable. So Niels Bohr proposed this quantum jump. Means the electron is traveling from one orbital to another without going through intermediate space. Understand that. That is what is called quantum. Otherwise, it will become continuous jump. Anything which is continuous is not quantum. Quantum means there is always a gap. It is discrete. So the jump of the electron from one orbital to another also will release energy, but that jump is basically not through space. Understand that. It vanishes from one place and appears at the same time in the other place. These kind of theories are all it is there even in science. What I am trying to say is, but even after giving all these things, they are not arrived at anything conclusive. So any objective knowledge of the world is always incomplete. It can never be taught completely to you. That is the point I am trying to convey. But this Atma can be conveyed completely because it is partless whole. Understand that. Anything with parts will keep on reducing and you will never arrive at any conclusion what it is. But Atma is a partless whole and it can be taught to you completely. There is nothing to add, nothing to reduce. This is the only knowledge which can be actually conveyed completely. And that is the knowledge which Bhagavan has taught Arjuna, and Arjuna is all awestruck. Okay. You can imagine he is thinking, why did he not teach me all these things? All these years I was with him. I was taught dharma, but I was never taught this Atma Jnana. So he is awestruck by that knowledge. Anyway, so Bhagavan here, so this is the knowledge, this is the yoga, that Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. For a sannyasi, it is Jnana Yoga because sannyasi gives up all roles voluntarily and only has two roles, either a teacher or a student. Sannyasi is not even a citizen, that's why in those days they can go without visa to any kingdom within India. They were respected everywhere. They are not citizens, they don't have even the rights of a citizen or duties of a citizen. They are only either a student. Student means Vividisha Sannyasa, we say. They have taken Sannyasa to study the Shastra and simplify their lifestyle. Or Vidvat Sannyasa means they have already gained the knowledge. They just want to lead a lifestyle which is in keeping with that knowledge. Like Yajnavalkya wanted to go to the forest in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So he says, he goes to his two wives and says, I have so much wealth because Janaka gave him thousands of cows and all that. If you read the Brihadaranyaka itself. So he has lot of wealth, lot of land and all that. He says, I'll give you 50% to Katyayani, 50% to Maitreyi. because now I want to retire to the forest and lead a life of sannyasa. Then Katyayani takes everything happily. Maitreyi asks, okay, you are giving me all these things. So can I get immortality with all this wealth? Amritatvam will I get? She is asking. Then he says, Vityena naiva asha. There is no hope with all this wealth. You will never get any immortality. Then she asks him, teach me. So that's how there is a Maitreyi Brahmanam in the Vrihadaranyaka, where Yajnavalkya is teaching his wife Maitreyi about this Atma Jnanam. And that is there. It is a beautiful Brahmanam there. So the Vidvat Sannyasa also is presented as a lifestyle for the one who has already gained this knowledge and who wants to just be in this knowledge with a certain lifestyle. So this is the yoga. Yoga means one is pravritti lakshana, it is said, another is nivritti lakshana. If you are a karma yogi, you are still doing pravritti, correct? You have pursuits, you have to do your duties and all that. But this in no way it is any less or anything like that. Karma yogi also has to be a mumukshu. Karma yogi also has to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam. In fact, it's a more difficult lifestyle in one way because you have to also fulfill other roles. Sannyasi is an easier lifestyle, but for that you have to have a different kind of maturity. But because you should be able to lead a life with without the crutches of any emotional support, and all you may not have anymore, correct? Or whatever is legal or moral to a grihastha becomes immoral to a sannyasi also. So, in fact, later on, Bhagavan says in the 5th chapter, Sannyasastu Mahabaho Dukkham Aptum Ayogataha. He says, if you are not ready for it, sannyasa lifestyle will give you only dukkha. But if you are ready for it, it is the lifestyle which is very much aligned with this knowledge. And Shankaracharya praises it a lot. So anyway, these two yogas are there. So Bhagavan is starting this chapter saying, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam. So this yoga which is Avyaya, he says, I told Vivaswan. So when Bhagavan is saying, I told Vivaswan, he is identifying himself as Ishvara. Understand that. Not Mr. Krishna who was born to Devaki and all that. Mr. Krishna is only some, I don't know, during the time of the Mahabharata war, I think he was 80 years old or something already. If you read some of these books and all that, academic books. But so he is there for a few years only, but he is saying, I gave it to Vivaswan. Who is this Vivaswan? Vivaswan is the first king of the Surya Vamsha. Mahabharata itself is the story of the Chandra Vamsha kings. Ramayana is the story of the Surya Vamsha kings, and Vivaswan is the first king of Surya Vamsha, or even son. The Surya Devata or Aditya Devata also is called as Vivaswan. So we can take it in any meaning, but long back, that is very much sure, correct? I taught this at the beginning of creation to Vivaswan, he says, as Ishvara. Then he says, Vivaswan Manave Praha. Then Vivaswan taught it to Manu. And Manu taught it to Ikshvaku, he says. Manu Ikshvakave Abravit. Ikshvakave Abravit. So Manu then taught it to Ikshvaku. In this manner, Evam Parampara Praptam. He says, in this manner, this lineage has now it is now available to us. This is the knowledge is coming. This knowledge is not new. In fact, every knowledge is old only. Understand that. Because all knowledge is already there with Ishvara. So there is even what you say as invention is really a possibility in creation, and every possibility Bhagavan knows. Is that clear? For us, it may be something new, but every invention also is really a discovery only because it is a potential, correct, in the creation. That potential may have been seen by some human being newly, but it doesn't mean that it is a new something new. Because in all knowledge, that potential also is included. So all knowledge is always old only, and it is all coming only from Ishvara. And Bhagavan is saying these two yogas which I taught you, the Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, it is all coming because I only taught it to Vivaswan, Vivaswan taught it to Manu, Manu taught it to Ikshvaku, and in this manner, this lineage is coming, means this Raja Rishi. Raja Rishis are there. Even though they are kings, they are also Jnanis. So we had kings like that, Janaka, etc. Because he already talked about Janaka in the 3rd chapter also. Okay. So, in this manner, this parampara is coming. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. So, in this manner, this lineage has started and it is available now. And what kind of lineage? The lineage of Raja Rishis, he says. Because there is another lineage of Brahma Rishi also. So there are people, there are many lineages, but basically all these lineages are teaching the same truth, same vision of Atma. So this lineage of Raja Rishis is coming down like this. But what happened to that? Sakale neha mahata. So even during Krishna's time, Krishna is saying due to a long time, mahata kalena yogo nashtaf parantapa. He says this yoga has been lost. Lost means we have to take it as declined. It's not available very easily. In fact, it has become a rahasyam even by that time. By the time of Arjuna only, even though Vyasa, Arjuna is a contemporary of Vyasa and Shuka, they are all great jnanis. And Vyasa only wrote Brahma Sutra and all that. Vyasa only has written this conversation also. But Vyasa is presenting this as Bhagavad Gita, really. From the mouth of Krishna, who he considers as Bhagavan, and even in the Bhagavad Gita, everywhere we see Bhagavan Uvacha only. It's not just Krishna Uvacha, it is Bhagavan Uvacha. So it is coming from the mouth of Bhagavan, this teaching, and that Bhagavan himself is now reiterating the same thing by showing this lineage to us. But that whatever knowledge which came, what happened? It became Nashtaha. In fact, why did it become Nashtaha? So Yogo Nashtah Parantapa. Parantapa means one who scorches his enemies. Okay, that can be the meaning. So this this yoga, it became Nashta means Shankaracharya there he gives an interesting note. He says, why did it become Nashta means people became weak, he says. Durbalan, Ajitendriyan, he says. Those who did not have their Indriyas in their mastery. Means people became, they went along with their likes and dislikes. They were no more yogis. With such people, even if you teach them, it will go over their head. Correct? It's not going. That is see, the Upanishad word itself means secret also. Upanishad, I said, is Brahma Vidya, correct? But there is one more meaning for Upanishad, means secret names are also called as Upanishad or something which is secret. Now, this Upanishad is the greatest secret. Why? Because that Brahma Vidya, it is an open secret. Even if I teach you, if you are not ready, you are not going to get it. Understand that. It will never, you will not understand it at all. It's not very easy. I can teach you for 12 years. After that also, you will come and ask the same question, what is Atma? It's very possible. In fact, even some Swamis themselves have told me, those who have been teaching for 30, 40 years, they say that my students, I have been teaching them for 30 years. After 30 years also, they are asking me the same question. So this is even for students who have been studying. Those who are sincere students, they have been attending classes, but mostly they are attending weekend classes and things like that, correct?
Because we approach it from intellectual viewpoint.
Whether it is intellectual or not, the idea is that it's not easy to understand. It's basically it is a subtle subject matter, and it goes over you most of the time. So anyway, here Shankaracharya is saying that these people are Durbalan, Ajitendriyan. They became like that going forward, and this knowledge did not then stick with them. Correct? So, but anyway, continuing the third verse, what Bhagavan says, Saye vayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratanaha bhakto sime sakha cheti rahasyam hyetad uttamam. So he says that same knowledge which I taught to Vivaswan, Sayeva, now I am teaching you. Adya, I am teaching you, Arjuna. It's not anything different. The same knowledge. Okay. That is, and so it is Puratanaha, he says. It is a very old knowledge. Like I said, every knowledge is only old. There is no new knowledge really. Same knowledge I am teaching you today. And why? Because you are my bhakta and you are also my friend, he says. You are, means he is Priyaha. He is dear to Bhagavan because he is a bhakta and he is also his friend. Bhaktosi me sakha chet. So you are bhaktaha asi. You are my bhakta, you are my devotee, you are my friend. Sakha also. So that being the case, I am teaching you this old knowledge. And what kind of knowledge it is? It is Uttamam and Rahasyam, both. See, this knowledge, Bhagavan is giving two adjectives. It is Uttamam and Rahasyam. Now, Uttamam, why it is Uttamam? Like I told you, it is Uttamam because this is the only knowledge I can teach you completely. And this is the only knowledge which reveals to you your own Swarupa as the limitless. In fact, gives you the limitless, correct? Can anybody better it really? There is nothing better than that. If you are all, the knowledge is that you are the limitless. If you are the limitless and you understand that there nothing else can actually better it. There is no better knowledge than this. So this knowledge is the greatest knowledge. It is Uttamam. It is the highest knowledge because it frees you from all sorts of limitations. It frees you from all sorrow. Atmavid tarati shokam. And it gives you ananda. Because you know Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. I am this Ananda Swarupa. In fact, my Ananda does not depend on any experience, any object, any external thing, correct? I am the very source of all Ananda. That is my very nature. And that is me. This is the knowledge. This is the highest knowledge. But this is also Rahasyam. It is Rahasyam because, like I told already, even if I openly teach this, most people will not get it. Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Bhagavan already said this. Ascharyavat chainam anya shrinoti. Shrutva apyenam vedana chaiva kashchite. So Ascharyavat pashyati. Even when I teach you, it is all Ascharya. It is all great, awesome. Then even when you listen to it and when you understand it, it is great. And even the teacher, the way he teaches is also is an Ascharya because the teacher has to convey you something which is not the meaning of any one word also. Correct? I already told you. We have to use words to teach you. But we have to use words to teach you something which cannot be denoted by words. That's why we have to use a negative way of teaching. Neti neti. Because I have to tell you, you are not whatever you see. Correct? That is the basic teaching of Advaita, the Vedanta is that I am not whatever I know. You have to start from there. You have to hold on to that always. I am not whatever I know. I am only the conscious being to whom everything becomes evident. My identity with the body, mind, sense complex, in fact, is a mistake. It is a ajnanam only. It is adhyasa. It is erroneous knowledge. It is mithya jnanam. That knowledge has to be, that notion that I am an individual itself has to be overcome. Because individuality itself is only incidental. It's not intrinsic to me. So that is the knowledge which is being taught here, and it's not very easy to assimilate. It is subtle. So it is Rahasyam. Even if I teach you, it will remain Rahasyam. Even otherwise also it was kept as a Rahasyam mostly because they didn't want to confuse people also. Because some people will take this teaching and they'll cover up their own laziness and keep saying everything is Maya and all that. Okay, that's not the idea. If you whatever is to be done, you have to do anyway. That is the teaching really. But then you can get away with all that. Just that's what we call Varati Vedantam in Tamil. We say some people will be sitting in their home only. Okay? They don't want to do any work, and then they'll be doing all. They'll if anybody asks them some question, they'll say no, what everything is Maya. So, but that's not the idea. In fact, that's why Bhagavan in the third chapter says, Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. Joshayet Sarvakarmani Vidwan Yukta Samacharan, like that there is a verse is there. He says, don't go and create confusion amongst those who are Ajnanis. You cannot talk Vedanta to everybody. Even though you know Vedanta, you cannot even teach it to your own relatives and all that. Unless they ask you, you cannot teach. It is always only given for the asking. You also have to see whether they are qualified enough and mature enough to understand it properly. So otherwise it can be misunderstood and also misquoted and all that. So anyway, so don't create any confusion among the Ajnanis. It is better that for Ajnanis, you have to teach only Dharma. Only for a Mumukshu, we can teach the Moksha Shastra. For everybody else, you teach Yoga Shastra. That is fine. So that is what here, so Bhagavan anyway, he says it is Rahasyam. This Rahasyam and Uttamam Jnanam. Whatever I already taught to Vivaswan, the same thing now I am teaching you because you are my Bhakta and you are my Sakha, you are dear to me. So generally in the Upanishads and all, if you see, it will be there, father will be teaching the son and all that. That also shows that this knowledge has been given properly because it is given by a father to son, and father has a certain attachment to the son, correct? Father considers his son as dear, and so whatever he is teaching the son cannot be wrong. That is the idea. So it is for Vidya Stuti also, it is said that. So these three verses, with this in fact Bhagavan thought, okay, everything is over now, Arjuna is going to fight, okay? So I don't have to teach anything more. I have given the Vamsha Kathanam. I have praised this knowledge, and this knowledge is coming from Ishvara only, and this is the greatest knowledge. This is the great secret also. I have taught that to you. Now go. But unfortunately, Arjuna further asks. He asks a very silly question, but he does ask that. So now Bhagavad Gita will go for 18 chapters. So now what did he ask? He says, Arjuna Uvacha. अपरम भवतो जन्म परम जन्म विवस्वतः कथम एतद्विजानीयाम त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति. So now he asks the question which all of you also may have this question. He says, your janma is only now, aparam. Vivaswan lived long back, param janma vivasvataha. Vivaswan's birth was long back. You were only born to Devaki, now you are my cousin. Katham etad vijaniyam tumado proktam. How do I know that you only taught this to Vivaswan? Like this, Arjuna asks a question now. So now Bhagavan has to continue. So Bhagavan continues. He says, Bhagavan uvacha, what? Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetta parantapa. So Bhagavan says, no, see, he is going to present the Avataravada also now. In the 4th chapter only, the Avataravada is presented in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says, see, so many janmas have gone by. Okay. For you also. And I have also taken so many avatars before. I know all of them, he says. So Bahuni me vyatitani. He says, so many janmas have already gone by for you. Janmani tavacha Arjuna. Arjuna, hey Arjuna, for you, so many janmas are already gone. It's all done. Okay. And Tani Aham Veda Sarvani. He says, I know about all your janmas because Bhagavan is all knowing, correct? We say, in all knowledge, all these, the details also are included. So normally, when we talk about all knowledge, we use two terms. Okay. One is Sarvajnaha, another is Sarvavit. Now, Sarvajnaha means you know about everything as an overview or in general. So even a Jnani is called a Sarvajnaha because Jnani knows that everything is only Chaitanya. Like you know that if you have a gold jewelry shop, everything is gold there, correct? That means you know about everything in that shop, that everything is gold. You may not know about each and every jewelry, how it is made and all that, that is fine. Still, you may not know about each and every name and form, but you know the substance, that everything is gold. Means that is sarvajñatvam. That is also sarvajñatvam because name and form does not count really because it doesn't exist independently. Only the substance alone exists. Like that, in this world, a jnani who has been born as a particular human being becomes a jnani means that jnani is a sarvajñaha, but sarvajñaha only in the sense that jnani knows everything is only one. It's all Chaitanyam alone. So in fact in Tamil there is a beautiful saying, correct? Kallakanda Nayakanu. Nayakanda Kallakanu, like that we say. So we say if you see the dog, there is no stone. If you see the stone, there is no dog, correct? Like this, there is a saying is there. In fact, this saying is also misinterpreted as when a dog is there, you want to hit it, but you don't find any stone on the road. But when the stone is available to hit the dog, but dog is not available, you are just having the stone in your hand. Like this, we used to understand as children. Okay. The idea is that whenever you want to have some important instrument or something, it's not available to you at the right time. Like this, practically there is a meaning. That's what I also thought. Then later on, I studied Vedanta. Then I understood it totally different meaning. It's actually a Vedantic saying that there is a dog sculpture, okay, and it's a ferocious dog. Let us say, it looks very real. So normally a person may misunderstand that there is a real dog there and is about to attack me. Correct. So when you look at it as dog, there is only dog there. Correct. With all the features of dog and all that, and you are in fact getting ready to run away. But then somebody comes and says, no, it's only stone, it's only a sculpture. Okay, don't start running. Now, if you look at it as stone, in the stoneness, there is no darkness, correct? There is no darkness or anything. You look at it as stone means there is only stone is there. That is the reality. There was, in fact, there was never any dog. Dog was never there. Even when you were seeing the dog, dog was not there. That is Maya, we say, right? Maya is something, when you analyze it, is not there. And later on, you know that even when I was perceiving it, it was not there. That is the beauty of Maya. So you cannot ask, why did I see the dog? That why question is, is invalid. Understand that. So, because if somebody only sees the stone, he'll never see the dog anyway. Understand that. So, this truth is revealed to us. And so this kind of sayings are all there in all languages. I think it will be there. That's the interesting thing. So, anyway, Bhagavan knows all the things in detail. Not only this general knowledge, like everything is made up of one vastu. That is one level of sarvajñatvam. But we say sarva vetritvam or sarva vit also we say. So that he knows the detail of each and every being's karma, life, etc. Like this, there is also a verse in Vishnu Purana. So anyway, so that's what Bhagavan is saying here. I am a sarvavit. That I know all the details about all your lives. You do not know anything, it is all hidden. In fact, I am only hiding that also. He says, Matta Smritir Apohanam cha. Like that in the 15th chapter, he says, from me only you have memory, and from me only you have forgetfulness also. In fact, forgetfulness is very important for us, correct? If you are not able to forget certain things, that becomes a burden. Many times you think, why I do not know all my past life and all that. In fact, it's a great blessing, I think. Otherwise, it will become a problem. You are again carrying grudges across lifetimes and all that. Think about that. This guy did like this to me in that life. Means it's going to spoil even whatever relationship you have now, that also is gone. So Bhagavan who says, I am only giving you both memory and forgetfulness also, correct? Apohanam, he says. Matta smritir apohanam cha. So like that, so you do not know that, I know that. Okay. So because my jnanam is not covered. For a normal human being, there is avaranam is there. covering. It is all covered. But Bhagavan's Upadhi is Maya Upadhi, and that Upadhi is uncovered. So Bhagavan is on the other side of the magic. That's the idea. He is the magician, correct? For the magician, there is no magic because he knows everything, all the details. For those who are looking at it, it is all magic. You don't know what the real reality there, so it's a magic. So it is covered for you, but it is not covered for me because I am the one who is wielding the Maya. So like that he says. In fact, later on, the next few verses are also very interesting. We'll see that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.